What is happening, guys? Your boy TC back with another video. So the rumour mill is absolutely going crazy as we speak, and the reason we're making this video is in regards to Granit Xhaka. So he has been linked with a move to Inter Milan, and a lot of fans have reacted in a number of ways. Really, some are calling for Granit Xhaka to be sold, some don't want to see him leave. Of course, I will explain my own opinions in regards to the proposed transfer to Inter Milan for Granit Xhaka, but let's talk about the transfer fee. So the transfer fee that's being reported is roughly around £40 million. Of course, it will be a profit in terms of the transfer fee that Arsenal initially paid for Granit Xhaka when we signed him back in 2016. We paid roughly around £30 million. It is reported that the fee could have risen to about £35 million. But that was the fee. So if we were to sell him on for about the £40 million that is being reported, that would be quite good business in terms of Arsenal. Usually we don't sell our players at a good market value. We end up losing players on a very minimal amounts in terms of the transfer fees. But if we were to get this £40 million for Granit Xhaka, it won't be bad business whatsoever. But let's just talk about Granit Xhaka as a player over the years. He has certainly been criticised. He has been at the club for roughly about 3 years now. He has been criticised heavily on many occasions for his performances. On some occasions, rightly so, making silly mistakes and not giving enough in that particular midfield area where he plays. That key area on the pitch, really, on some occasions he hasn't given enough on key games. Sometimes his passing has been poor. He has been criticised for a number of reasons over the years, but let's not take away from the fact that yes, he's slightly a decent player. To me, he could do better in that position that he plays. It requires someone with a lot of discipline, and Xhaka sadly at times lacks a lot of discipline, and he makes some silly mistakes on quite a regular basis, which leads people to obviously criticise him heavily. We've seen a number of incidences really in the past where he's actually been physically abused by fans on the street whilst he was out with his wife and all those kind of scenes, which is obviously not good. But he may actually be making his way out of the club. Yes, I'd want to see him go. Who do we get in? That's the key question. Of course, at times he has played a crucial part, scored some crucial goals, namely that free kick at Crystal Palace in the season gone. But in that position he plays, as mentioned earlier on in the video, he needs to be slightly a little bit more disciplined, and he hasn't turned out to be the player, unfortunately, that we've needed to obviously provide us with that vital cover that we've needed in that particular area. I have previously mentioned in the past season that he had found a good working balance with Torreira, in particular in that period where we had that 20 or 22 game unbeaten run. Those two had found a good working relationship, and they had struck a good partnership, but it didn't last long. Of course, we ended up basically crashing out of the Champions League. We had our own destiny in our own hands, and Granit Xhaka certainly played a part along the way by giving away a penalty in crucial games, etc. So of course it warrants, to me personally, it does warrant a move for him to be shifted on. Hopefully the funds can certainly be used wisely to bring someone else into the team, but we don't know how the manager or the club will play that really. But we do certainly need to get a replacement. He's not a player that we need to sell and not replace. So in this part of the video we'll look at some stats and some numbers in relation to Granit Xhaka over the years. So as mentioned, he joined Arsenal back in 2016, and during that time really he has actually had a fairly good injury record in my opinion. The most is missed on one occasion really would have been 15 days, and secondly he had 12 days out back in 2019 January, and that 15 days as mentioned was from March in 2019. Back in May 2018 he had 4 days out, and that was due to a bruised knee. A flu as well back in April 2018 for 4 days. ankle injury, and that was back in 2017, so he missed 10 days during that period. So he's had a fairly good injury record in my opinion. Players like him that play in that demanding position where you have to do a lot of running, a lot of ground being covered in that particular position, you'd expect them to slightly pick up niggles here and there, but he's had a fairly good record in my personal opinion anyway over the years that he's been at Arsenal, 3 years closing in on now in terms of injuries. So let's just look at some stats in relation to playing time. So when he joined us back in 2016-17 season, he made 47 appearances. 32 of those were in the Premier League. He played 2,486 minutes. He also scored 4 goals in his debut season and also provided 3 assists. However, he picked up 14 yellow cards and 2 red cards. Moving on to the 2017-18 season. In that season, he actually made a total of 56 appearances. That's obviously including the World Cup appearances. He made 4 of those. Scored 5 goals, which is a slight improvement from the previous season when he scored 4 goals. Made 7 assists, which was a much better improvement in my opinion. Picked up 13 yellow cards, so that trend continued. As we mentioned, obviously his discipline has been poor over the times, but picking up 13 yellow cards. And then we move on to this season where he's made 44 appearances in all competitions for club and country. 4 of those were made in the UEFA Nations League competition. Scored 4 goals, so he's hovering on that 4-5 goal mark. 6 assists throughout the whole season, but best yet so far in terms of yellow cards, picked up 15 yellow cards in this season gone. So he hasn't really improved as a player over that time. A player that we would have paid £30 million for, and that has certainly warranted, in my own opinion, the criticism that he has received. However, some of the treatment, in my own opinion, has been slightly unfair. Of course, it's just a football player. It's all entertainment. People do slightly take it a bit too far, but of course £40 million will be great business on Arsenal's behalf if we can shift him on. But as mentioned at the top of the video, the key is, can we get a replacement in? A replacement in this situation is very crucial. So I do hope the club does the right thing, spends the money wisely, in my own opinion anyway, and bring in a suitable replacement. There are names of replacements floating out there. We will be making separate videos for those. But as usual, please do let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, please do make sure that you do hit that subscribe button. So once again, guys, it's your boy TC from I'm Gonna Talk TV. And I'm out.